When Conor McGregor made his long-awaited return to the octagon against Max Holloway at UFC 329, the entire fighting world watched in complete shock as he buckled his knee just 69 seconds into the opening round. Immediately after the fight was called off, Dana White made a public statement explaining that Conor suffered a brutal tear to his ACL and meniscus, insisting that major surgery was the only logical next step for recovery. However, a brand new social media clip released directly by Conor himself has sparked a massive wave of outrage and skepticism across the entire combat sports community. In the video, Conor is seen inside the gym performing weighted leg exercises without a single surgical incision or scar anywhere near his knee. For someone who was reportedly hobbling on crutches just days earlier, jumping straight into heavy workouts without having an operation makes almost no sense to medical experts. Fans instantly flooded the comment section, openly questioning whether Conor fabricated the severity of the injury or used a fake diagnostic report as a tactical cover to escape his current contract obligations without taking further damage. Critics argue that lifting weights with a freshly torn ligament is either an extraordinarily reckless stunt that risks permanent physical damage or proof that the entire situation was blown out of proportion to play the public for fools. Between accusations of faking the tear and theories that he is performing pre-rehab to speed up his recovery, the mystery surrounding Conor's physical condition is rapidly turning into one of the most controversial scandals in recent MMA history. The harsh reality of Father Time hit former welterweight King Kamaru Usman with full force following his devastating showdown against Dricus Du Plessis in Oklahoma City. Across 5 grueling rounds, Du Plessis repeatedly cracked Usman with heavy, clean combinations, wobbling the former champion multiple times and putting on a dominant performance that left no doubt who controlled the cage. Although Dana White attempted to protect Usman's legacy after the fight by insisting he still has plenty of fight left in him, Usman appeared visibly shaken during a recent episode of his podcast. Sitting beside his co-host Henry Cejudo, a humbled Usman admitted that he needs to have a serious sit-down with his family and coaching staff to decide whether continuing his fighting career is actually worth the physical toll. At 39 years old, with legendary knee issues that make basic daily movements painful, his risky jump up in weight proved to be a catastrophic calculation. When Cejudo suggested that Usman should return to the 170-pound division to fight dangerous rising stars like Carlos Prates, Usman flatly rejected the idea. He made it clear that he has zero interest in stepping back into the cage just to serve as a stepping stone for young contenders unless a world championship title is directly on the line. Facing the bitter reality that his body can no longer handle the extreme demands of elite competition, the former pound-for-pound star appears to be standing on the absolute edge of stepping away from the sport for good. While high-stakes legacy battles continue to unfold, the logistical machinery of the UFC has been hit with a wave of unexpected cancellations and emergency match changes. At the official weigh-ins for UFC Abu Dhabi, main event light heavyweights Magomed Ankalaev and Bogdan Guskov both tipped the scales at 205.5 pounds, officially locking in their headlining clash alongside the rest of the main card fighters who successfully hit their target marks. However, the fight promotion was hit with frustrating news regarding the upcoming UFC 330 card in Philadelphia, as a high-profile matchup between Erin Blanchfield and Jasmine Jasudavicius had to be completely pulled off the schedule due to an unexpected injury suffered by Blanchfield. Instead of rushing to find a last-minute substitute, officials elected to postpone the bout entirely, targeting a reschedule for the UFC Edmonton event later in the autumn. Meanwhile, another bout cancellation forced matchmakers to work fast after Max Jimenez was forced out of his scheduled fight against Yon Lane due to repeated injuries. To save the matchup, the UFC reached deep into its roster pool to sign Alexander Popek as an emergency replacement. Popek, who originally appeared on the Contender Series 7 years ago where he suffered a defeat against former champion Jamal Hill, is finally making his official promotional debut after years of waiting on the sidelines. Additionally, new bout arrangements were finalized as Andre Lima prepares to square off against undefeated prospect Namzrai Batbayer in Shanghai, while Ty Miller looks to extend his perfect professional record against Billy Ray Goff at UFC Vegas 120. as veteran stars rebuild their fight camps. Current featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski was spotted ramping up his training intensity alongside elite striking coach Mauricio Wafi over in Thailand. Video footage posted on social media revealed Volkanovski putting in rigorous striking drills, hinting that an official title defense announcement against Movsar Evloev is right around the corner. At the same time, lightweight ruler Islam Makhachev is taking extraordinary measures to prepare for his anticipated mega fight against Ian Garry. Recognizing that Garry possesses a massive physical advantage with his 6'3" frame and 74-inch reach, Islam's team brought in heavy-hitting giant Joel Alvarez as a specialized sparring partner. Alvarez, who stands at 6'3" with a 77-inch reach and a 22-fight finishing record, provides Islam with the exact physical look needed to neutralize Garry's range and timing during live exchanges. For his part, Ian Garry released a passionate sit-down clip expressing absolute confidence in his ability to shock the world. Garry acknowledged that Islam represents the single toughest challenge in modern combat sports history, a two-weight world champion riding an unprecedented unbeaten streak and holding the top pound-for-pound ranking on the planet. Garry emphasized that he has spent his entire career manifesting this exact high-pressure moment, insisting that taking on the absolute final boss of the sport is the only way to prove his own greatness to the world. Ian Garry's outspoken media tour took a chaotic turn when featherweight contender Bryce Mitchell launched an incredibly aggressive personal attack against him in a viral video. Known for his raw and unfiltered commentary, Mitchell laid out a strict 3 strikes rule, detailing exactly why he will never respect Garry or tune into another one of his interviews ever again. Mitchell pointed to Garry's public criticism of veteran fighter Neil Magny's parenting choices as the initial strike that turned him off. The second strike cut directly into socio-political territory, with Mitchell passionately asserting that Garry's statements advocating for women leading households were unnatural and went against his own deeply held traditional family beliefs. However, it was the third strike that triggered Mitchell's most intense reaction, as he mercilessly mocked Garry for complaining on camera about getting his hands dirty while pulling moss and wet leaves out of roof gutters. Mitchell ridiculed Garry for treating basic home maintenance like a major hardship, boasting that working-class people deal with far dirtier and tougher farm labor every single day without uttering a single complaint. Although Mitchell praised Garry's fluid striking skills inside the cage and admitted he will still tune in to watch his fights, he made it abundantly clear that he considers Garry's personal lifestyle completely unbearable to listen to. Rounding out the latest developments across the organization, top lightweight contender Mateusz Gamrot officially secured his future by signing a lucrative multi-fight contract extension with the UFC just weeks ahead of his main event clash against Sarukian. Meanwhile, former interim champion Justin Gaethje doubled down on his firm refusal to grant Ilia Topuria an immediate rematch following their violent encounter at the UFC White House event. Speaking in a recent broadcast interview, Gaethje dismissed Topuria's team's demands, stating in plain terms that he didn't get lucky with a punch, but rather delivered a comprehensive 4-round beating that forces Topuria back to the drawing board. Gaethje argued that top contender Arman Tsarukyan deserves the next title shot, suggesting Topuria might need to earn a victory elsewhere or return to the featherweight division before ever earning another championship opportunity. On a lighter note, rising star Tommy McMillan earned widespread community praise after a former high school classmate posted a heartwarming message recalling how McMillan stood up for him against locker room bullies years ago. Finally, bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili dropped a startling revelation during a polygraph test video with Aviator. Merab admitted that he was fully prepared to walk away from the UFC and pull out of his high-stakes fight if officials prohibited him from displaying his chest tattoo of the Georgian flag inside the cage. Merab revealed that his unwavering commitment to representing his home country forced the promotion to stand down and approve the tattoo, illustrating the extreme principles that drive elite fighters behind the scenes.